Cats are so full of mystery, aren't they? And sometimes their behaviour seems to make no sense at all. Like they'll come over to you and ask you to stroke them, and then the next minute they're biting you. So today I'm going to walk you through 3 classic, confusing cat behaviours and explain what's really going on. Love you. And first is exactly that. Your cat comes running over to you, asking for a stroke. So their tail might be up, they're probably rubbing against you, they're purring, they're really into it. And when you start stroking them after a while, you get yourself bitten out of nowhere. Like they've not started hissing, they've not moved away, they're still asking for more, but they bite you. So this, in my experience, tends to happen for one of 2 reasons. Firstly, is that they've become overstimulated. So every cat has a threshold with what they're comfortable with. And sometimes if you move past that threshold, it's like you've been doing it for too long. And so they might still be enjoying it, but they've had enough and they still want to be near you, but they just don't want you to be doing the stuff that you're doing. Also, for some cats here, when they're overstimulated, is that they're almost too excited. And I don't know if you've seen this with your cat, but like they want more and more and more, and they're super excited about it, and they're really pushing into you, and they're really purring, and they flip round, and they're on their backs, and they get so excited by it all that this sometimes manifests in a bite. So for this, I tend to compare it to tickling. You know, when you're a kid and someone tickles you, and you're laughing, but in the same way, you're like, I want this to stop now. So try to think of it that way, and that they do like that. They want to be with you, but they don't want it to that degree. They have become overstimulated and you've got yourself bitten. The other side of this is that lots of cats want some affection, but just not in the way you're giving it. So they do want to be with you. They will rub themselves on you. They will be purring, and they'll be like, I want this attention. I don't quite like it there. I don't like it on my tummy. I don't like it on my tail. I don't like it on that bit at the end of the back before it goes up to the tail. They might just want it around their ears or just around their neck or on their cheeks or just a little bit of fuss, and then they just want to be with you. So this will vary depending on your cat, like every cat's an individual, but these are sensitive areas like the tummy, the tail, the paws. These things are sensitive, and if you go too close to their eyes as well, that can result in a bite too. So get to know your cat, understand what they need from you, and learn their boundaries, learn their thresholds. Because this biting is not a way of saying they don't like you. It's not a way of saying they want to get away from you. It's them trying to communicate with you and trying to set boundaries. So try to tune into what they're saying, look for their body language, and it will help you understand what they like and what they don't. So if you notice their ears going back and their tail begin to flick, then you'll know that they're starting to have enough. But what I would focus on most is whether they've stopped engaging. Like, if you hold your hand near them, do they then rub themselves on you to be like, yeah, carry that on? Or do they just sit there and think, okay, fine? Then listen to that, because whether or not they're engaging back with you is the biggest indication of whether or not they want you to carry on. Like, let them tell you if they want that to happen. And if they don't, then that's fine, leave them be. The next really confusing cat behavior is when your cat makes it very clear that they want to go outside. Like they nag you, they meow at you, they don't settle, they pace around the door, and they wait for you to open the door and then just sit there. And they don't even go out. They might have a little look, they might have a little sniff, but they don't actually go through the door. And I've been there where you're stood there going, talking to them, saying, are you going to go? And you're stood there with that door handle in your hand, holding it open. Are you in or out? Choose, come on. So for me, this makes total sense, because what we have here is a territorial animal and a cautious animal. So they want to be aware of their surroundings, they want to know what's going on, they want to feel like they have a good gauge of everything that's happening in their territory, but they don't necessarily want to put themselves at risk or put them in a place where they don't feel comfortable, or even sometimes they just can't be bothered to go out, they just want to know what's happening out there. So what you're doing and what they're asking you to do is open that door for them so that they can look, they can check in, they can suss out what's going on out there, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they actually want to spend any time out there. This is such an annoying problem, isn't it? But I think when you think of it that way and appreciate that they just want to check in, it's much easier to understand where they're coming from and hopefully not get so annoyed with them and be more willing to just open it for a couple of seconds and then close back up. Another thing you could do is install a cat flap so they can check in and out as much as they want, and you'll notice they probably do that, just in and out a few times without actually spending any time out there. Then they'll be in control of whether they can come and go, and there won't be any frustration from you or your cat when you've finally given up and like, I'm not doing this anymore, you're not even going out. So it can be a massive help for you and your cat. Our last confusing behaviour is something that is so frustrating, which is when your cat goes to the litter tray, but then comes out and weasel poos next to it. So this is something I see all the time as I am a behaviourist. It's one of the most common problems. And this is not something they're doing on purpose because they're going to the right place. They know where to go, but something about it when they get there is putting them off. So if this is happening to you, then it's not your cat being naughty. It's normally for one of two reasons. So firstly is there might be something physically wrong with your cat, which is horrible to think about, but if they're poorly, you'll often find they go to the tray and when they get there, they're like, this is going to hurt. I don't know what to do. And they become uncomfortable and then they try and find a more comfortable space. Same if they are uncomfortable getting into the squat position. So cats that are older and they might have a bit of arthritis can sometimes feel pained when they get into the right position to wee. And so again, they come out and find themselves somewhere more comfortable. So get your cat checked out by your vet first thing to make sure there's nothing going on there. And you might want to try some pain relief or something that can help. Or secondly, it's something about the tray. So when they get there, they go to the right place and then suddenly something's put them off. So it could be the type of litter. Sometimes it's uncomfortable on their paws, it smells funny, or it could be overused, so it might need cleaning out and they're a bit uncomfortable going in there and using that. Or it could be something about the tray itself. So again, cats are individuals. There's no one perfect tray for every cat, but some are uncomfortable using more hooded ones, especially if they need to poo, because they need a lot of headroom for that. They almost stand on their tiptoes. So if they haven't got enough headroom, they can come out and do it on the floor. Some of the trays are more difficult to get into. So some of the ones with the top opening, they have to hop up and in. That can be a bit more difficult. And even like the great big litter robots, the massive, like huge ones you can get, can restrict their movements. So I've noticed on their litter robots, they have to go in, but they have to poo in the same position every time, like with their head poking out the front, because it's not giving them enough space to enable them to go in and turn around and poo in any position they want. They have to be in that one place. So have a look at the logistics of the tray and see if there's anything there that might be making your cat feel more uncomfortable. One final thing I would add is to look for anything that might be upsetting your cat once they're in. So in my experience, other cats like to sit on the top sometimes and swipe them as they come out. Greedy dogs like to follow them around, waiting for them to leave a present for them in the litter tray so the dogs can hoover it up afterwards. And sometimes these trays are in noisy places, so they go to the right place again, but they're put off when they get there because they don't feel right. So they poo right next to it or wee right next to it. So these are things to bear in mind. Again, it's not something that your cat's doing on purpose or to annoy you or to be naughty. There's always an underlying reason for these really annoying and confusing behaviours that can help us understand where our cat's coming from and help us change their behaviour for the better. If you want more advice on litter trays, then don't forget to watch this video and let me know in the comments what confusing behaviours your cat does, because I know they all have their quirks, they all have their nuances, and absolutely your cat will be doing something completely random that I can't wait to hear about. So do let me know in the comments and I'll catch you next time. Take care.